Glad you could join us. Now, Executive Director for the Ghana Integrity Initiative, GII, Linda Ofori-Kwafo, has warned against excessive jubilation over the country's impressive performance in the 2018 Corruption Perception Index, CPI, so it doesn't dip. Transparency International, TI, the body that conducts the survey, scored Ghana 41 out of a possible 100 in the 2018 Corruption Perception Index. This is an improvement over 2017 score of 40. By this score, Ghana ranks 78 out of the 180 countries ranked. Now, according to TI, this score is a positive departure from the continuous drop the country has been experiencing since the year 2015. Now, in spite of this feat in fighting corruption, Linda Ofori-Kwafo warns of losing focus if the country as well as anti-corruption campaigners rest on their oars, particularly ahead of the 2020 elections. She calls for more attention on prosecution.
We mentioned a couple of things. One of them is our prosecution. Obviously, before we went on break, the Ghana Integrity Initiative and other partners actually brought to the fore the issue of the Ghana's inability to investigate and prosecute corruption effectively, as we should be doing. And then we also raised the issue of the number of cases that no closure has been brought on them. I just don't want to talk about the litany of them. I think the media knows, and the public also knows. Then the issue about resourcing state institutions to be able to perform the anti-corruption mandate very well. For instance, the OSP budget has been given, I think 180 million Ghana cedis thereabouts. 180 million also Ghana cedis thereabouts. And then we have, it should be released to the office for the office to be able to perform its functions. We talk about the NACAP, the National Anti-Corruption Action Plan. It's a strategy we have as a country to fight corruption. So we should be able to push resources so as Shraj will be able to lead the implementation of the NACAP. We talk about dealing with issues of political patronage, nepotism, political party financing that we don't know where the resources are coming from. We are going into another election come next year, and if care is not taken, our 2020 CPI score might not be great, because obviously in the year of election, so much corruption that's happened, and these things influence the views of experts that are actually surveyed so far as the CPI is concerned. So government and we all should not be jubilating so much. We should be watching how we'll be able to make progress even in the election year 2020. Otherwise, we are not likely to perform very well.
So what were the factors that pushed the country a notch higher? Linda Ofori-Kwafo has been enumerating some of them.
I am not overly excited, but I am happy to say that the fact that public accountability played a role means that our work is actually making some gains, but we can do better. If only government will listen, if only state institutions will perform their role, if many lead institutions can play the role, the enhanced role that the Audit Service and Auditor General are doing, I'm sure we should be able to make some more gains. So we will continue our advocacy. One thing that needs to be done is to have access to information. Can you imagine if a question about are citizens able to access information, public information, even helped us to come up? How much more would an RTI law play so far as the CPI is concerned? I'm sure the question, it actually boosts our CPI score. We are looking for the day we are going to go beyond 50. TI is saying that any country scoring below 50, you are not doing well. There are so much issues of corruption that has to be tackled. But then it should be very, very important for us to put this discussion in perspective. Corruption Perception Index is talking about public sector corruption and focusing mainly on administrative corruption and political corruption. So tax evasion is not covered, money laundering is not covered. So some countries might be performing wonderfully on the CPI, but those countries might have issues with the areas the CPI does not cover. But there are other surveys that look at these ones. The Global Corruption Barometer, the indices on money laundering done by Transparency International may be focusing on that aspect. So we should not be overly sad and overly excited. CPI only looks at public sector corruption and what must be done to improve.
To justice delivery now, and lawyer for the lady beaten by a policeman, as Midland Savings and Loans Limited says he will petition the Attorney General after a court discharged the case for what it says was a lack of interest in the trial by the victim. An Accra Circuit Court discharged the police officer Lance Corporal Frederick Amano Godi, aka Scala, and 3 officials of Midland Savings and Loans Limited for allegedly aiding Godzi to assault the victim, Patience Osafo, and her baby. Samson Ladi Ayenini explains his client was not given notifications of the court dates after she was unable to attend to one of them due to a domestic issue. He spoke to me on the Super Morning Show. Now, he says the Attorney General will be petitioned on the case.
She was in Kumasi and was called in the afternoon and asked to be in Accra for court the next day. I advised her, talk to the prosecutor, they will take an adjournment, and then you will be at the next adjourned date. They will inform you about it. Now, see what has happened. A very clandestine, calculated plan, well executed. They go to court, take the adjournment. She doesn't get informed, yet the excuse they appear to have been giving to the court was that she's the one who is not making herself available. The police prosecutor never got back to her. This was planned and executed on the blind side of the complainant and the judge's knowledge. After speaking to her, she feels so very terrible about this. We will take some steps, including potentially filing a petition to the Attorney General to take this matter up and take it away from the police, probably get the state attorney to pursue this matter and pursue it more diligently.
When should we expect this petition to be sent to the Attorney General?
Immediately.
Watch this space for more on that story. Now, the Ghana Immigration Service says it intends to deal with the menace of human trafficking through effective collaboration with other relevant state agencies. This assurance comes at a time when the Ghana Police Service is engaged in a frantic search for some girls based in the Western region who have been kidnapped for months in what analysts believe to be a case of human trafficking. Deputy Controller General of the GIS, Judith Jokoto Lomo, was and has been speaking at the inauguration of a risk analysis cell, and she says the services remain committed to dealing with such crimes. Our man on the ground is Joseph Opoku Gakpo. Joe, what more can you report from this inauguration?
Well, so Daniel, this is a center that is supposed to assist the immigration in how it shares information with other similar centers in the sub-region. The thinking we are told is because of the fact that crime currently in the form of kidnapping, money laundering, and others are often perpetrated by individuals who move really across the various borders. So the Immigration Service has set up this center, which will collaborate with 4 other centers in the sub-region. So when people are moving across, information that are coming in, if there are people who are suspected to be committing certain crimes, people who are being wanted in real time, that information is key in here. And we also have analysts who are being trained and being handed the equipment to do the analysis, so that when there's some information that people feel that they don't have adequate data per what documents, travel documents the individual is presenting, they can call the center and hand the information to them for that risk analysis to be done before they will allow such individuals into the country, Daniel.
Right, thanks, Joseph Akable, pardon me for that error there. Let's now go to Joseph Gakpo, who is in Parliament. Now, Parliament is urging the police to speed up investigations into recent killings and kidnappings in the country and bring perpetrators to book. In his opening remarks as the House resumed sitting today, Majority Leader Oseche Mensah-Bonsu said the incidents are worrying. He also assured the House will prioritize the RTI bill during this meeting. Joseph, what has the Speaker and the Minority Leader, been saying? Right, Joseph will be joining us in a moment, but let's hear the Majority Leader, Oseche Mensah-Bonsu.
The state against the backdrop, especially of the gruesome murder of the undercover investigator Ahmed Hussein Swali and the public affairs manager of Tema Port, Josephine Asante, to mention just a few. Speaker, it is important for Parliament to urge the police service to relentlessly pursue these cases to their logical conclusion for justice to be served. Speaker, the kidnapping of 3 girls in Takoradi in the Western region is also very worrying. And the police, we understand, are working ostensibly to unveil the people behind these dastardly acts. We will again want to urge the police to speed their steps for us to come to the realization of indeed who is behind these unfortunate incidents that is threatening the security of this country. Before the House proceeded on recess, a number of issues have not been concluded. Notable amongst them is the Right to Information Bill. I would like to assure the public that we would work to ensure that this bill is passed soonest.
Now, Joseph will be joining us later in the bulletin with more on this story. But before that, the left hand of a 5-year-old boy would be amputated by doctors at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital as a result of a cutlass wound he received from his stepmother. The stepmother is alleged to have cut the hand of the boy with a cutlass and refused to take the boy to the hospital for treatment. It took the intervention of some good Samaritans who rescued the boy, raised funds, and sent him to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. Richard Kojonyako has been following the development and has filed this report.
On the rotten hand, Kofi stays with a stepmother and a biological dad at Ahomfi, a community in the Abra Sebu Kwamankese district. The stepmom allegedly cut Kofi's left hand with a cutlass when they were picking cassava sticks for the farm about 3 weeks ago. The little boy had to spend sleepless night outside when the hand began to rot and a powerful stench started emerging because the stepmom refused to care for him.
The boy said he was picking cassava sticks when the mom intentionally hit him with the knife. Mom, after 3 weeks, the mom realized the thing is swelling and is smelling. So he's not allowing the boy in the room. So he's sleeping outside the house. And he sent him, the stepmom sent him to a chemist, or I would say a drugstore. Then they gave him injection.
Director for the NCC at Abra Sebu Kwamankese, Ellen Osei, who brought the boy to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, speaks about the plight of the boy. Doctors at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital say the hand is virtually dead and amputation of the left hand is the only available option.
Currently, they are saying they have to send the boy to the theater, and they may need both parents form, sign a consent form so that they will amputate the hand, because the hand now is a dead hand.
Kofi would have to spend the rest of his life without his left hand after the surgical operation. These at the Abra Sebu Kwamankese district have begun investigations into the matter. Sources at the police say the stepmother of Kofi and the biological father of the boy would be picked on Tuesday for interrogation. Richard Kujinyaku, Joy News.
We apologize if we found some of that content disturbing. Now, police have arrested the couple. They are currently writing their statement at the the AAK District Police Office. Pardon me. Now, the stepmom of the boy is about 25 years old. She is pregnant and nursing another baby. That district is the Abra Asebu Kwamankese district. Now, my colleague Richard Kojonyako has joined us over the phone with the latest. Richard, how far were the processes for the boy's arm to be amputated? And we understand the parents would have to give their consent to the hospital.
Exactly, Daniel. So the child is currently at the hospital. He was brought to the hospital last night by some good Samaritans. It was led by the NCC director for Abra Sebu Kwamankese district. This morning, the police went to the community, Ahomfi community, and effected the arrest of the stepmother. Unfortunately, they couldn't get the father, the biological father of the boy. What happened was that the boy's father is still on his farm, one tapping business, so hasn't come home. So as we speak now, the stepmother just finished writing the statement, and in a short while, the police will accompany the stepmother to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, where the consent form would be signed for the surgical operation to amputate the child's left hand would be carried out.
So she's given the consent?
For now, we are yet to get to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital for the consent form to be signed. What we earlier did was the police processes where a written statement had to be taken from the stepmother before we go to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital.
Do we know what reason she gave for the action?
There hasn't been any reason exactly why that happened, because the incident happened close to a month ago, but the woman was still sending the boy to the farm, even in the boy's present predicament, until the boy was rescued by a good Samaritan who raised some funds, sent the boy to the Abra Sebu District Assembly. That was where the District Assembly decided to support the boy get some treatment. And so that is where we got.
Richard, help me understand this. In spite of, as we heard in your report, the boy's hands smelling to the extent that the woman was not allowing him to sleep in the same room as her, she was letting him do farm work.
Exactly, and beyond that, the child was not having the comfort of sleeping in the room. He has
because his hand was smelling.
Exactly, and so in spite of that, the woman was still sending the boy to the farm. And yesterday, when the boy removed the shirt, there were a lot of blisters on the body of the child. That suggested that there might be more than what we are even witnessing with the hand.
Thanks, Richard, for that report. Expect to hear more of this story in later bulletins, and it's a very sad occurrence, I must say. Now we'll take you to the Tamale suburb, where residents drink from a pond polluted with dirty diapers and human excreta. That's coming later on the bulletin. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. This is Joy News Today. I am Daniel Dazi. The Tamale suburb, where residents drink from a pond polluted with dirty diapers and human excreta. That's coming up on the Joy News Safe Water Project. The Gupegu Twa community is a few kilometers away from the center of the regional capital, Tamale. But the source of water for many residents here is one laced with human excreta and dirty sanitary pads. Now, with the community now being caught up in the urban sprawl, the situation seems to be worsening. The following report for the Joy News Safe Water Project, Northern Region correspondent Martina Bugri visits the community to speak to residents about the dire situation.
The main source of water for this community is this pond, a greenish cocktail comprising human excreta, dirt and dead leaves. Mohammed Salima is a resident. She says the only thing they do when they see these things around the pond is to remove them and fetch the water.
In the rainy time, everything will go in the distant dump. Sometimes if you come, you can see pampers and waste materials on the water, and which can damage our health.
She says she and many other young children in the area have had to skip school most times in search of water.
Oh, very dangerous, madam. Sometimes if it is dry season time and you come there, you not get water. So, and if you don't bath, how can you go to school? So sometimes we absent ourselves from school because of that.
In the absence of a potable water source, they make an attempt to treat it. Salima says after bringing the water home, the residents sieve and boil it before they can use it for cooking and drinking.
How are you going to use this water?
Okay, I'm going to sieve it, boil it. Can't you see the pot on the fire? So if I'm going to put it in there, But after that, you know, look at, you can see worms and germs here. So if I boil it, all the germs will die, so that I'll use it and cook my supper.
Open defecation is a common practice here, and the region ranks high on the open defecation index. Another resident, Ali Mahadam, said people defecate on their farms close to the dam, and when it rains, the fecal matter is washed into the water.
Toilet, any juice, so
The chief of Bukwaltua said the area is overwhelmed with several challenges, but the three critical ones are water, a clinic, and a toilet facility. He says the community has land and labor for anyone who wants to help.
What we try doing is that sometimes you don't wait until somebody or keep on making an appeal. We have we've left a land for this type of development that I'm asking for, the chief's compound. We have reserved the land solely for that. And then the water issue, we felt that if we have the pipes, we can come out with a communal label to have it to this community. So all these things are things that which are available to assist anybody who will come to our aid.
And the Bukrom Agavenya Junior High School in the Yellow Krobo municipality risks closure due to its weak nature. Teachers and pupils are gripped with fear as they conduct academic activities in the 5-decade-old clay structure on a daily basis. Some parents have withdrawn their children from the school to avoid any fatalities. School authorities are appealing to government to rehabilitate the structure to enable a conducive learning environment. Joy News' Fred Kwame Asare has the rest of the story.
The Brukum Agavenya Junior High School has a student population of less than 50, but students hardly attend classes. This is due to the dilapidated clay structure used for studies. The state of the weak clay structure demoralizes some children in the catchment areas from acquiring knowledge in the school. The over 50-year structure has developed several cracks with some portions of its walls falling off. The classroom block's roofing, which was changed recently, is already corroding and leaks when it rains. The students are exposed to the scorching sun during classes hours, while school automatically closes when rain looms. Michael Tete is a teacher in the school.
Today, a student will come tomorrow, that same student will be absent, and they do that as if they plan. So the very students you see here, tomorrow when you come, a different set come.
And don't you think the state of the structure here is also a factor?
I'll attribute that to the nature of the structure. Because me as a parent will never like to bring the ward to study under such a structure.
Though the Brukum Agavenya Junior High School receives supply of teaching and learning materials periodically, it lacks computers for the information and communication technology discipline. This has made the teaching of ICT incomplete. The ICT teacher, Atara Samuel, had to improvise with his mobile phone to teach the discipline.
So far as there are no computers to use as TLMs, we normally find it very difficult for the student to get the concept. Normally I use my mobile phone, so few of them have to touch my phones, because if it is spoiled now, it will be my own cost. Those who are in Form 3, most of their topics based on the internet, and there is no network access also. So we find it very difficult for them to get whatever we want to teach.
The campus has been playground for snakes as it is surrounded by bushes. Also, a borehole facility constructed on the campus produces unwholesome water, compelling pupils to feed on a nearby stream. Due to the numerous challenges the school is plagued with, parents are withdrawing their children. Authorities envisage a closure of the school if a befitting infrastructure is not provided in earnest.
The school being surrounded with such bushes, we have reptiles coming all over from the bush to the school. Snakes, for snakes, they are our friends here. We kill snakes every now and then. I'm foreseeing a close down of the school, because for now we have only Form 2 and Form 3. Now, for the Form 1s, when we reopen this term, I've been sent to a nearby community, which is Agugu. So they trek from this place to the place where the school is.
Community elders lament several attempts to call the attention of the appropriate authorities to the dilapidated state of the school proved futile. Pupils of Brukum Agavenia Junior High School will have to walk about 20 minutes to access education in neighboring Agogo if the school is closed down. They are hoping authorities will hear their plea and act on it. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Brukum, Eastern Region.
It's live on Joy News today. My name is Daniel Daze. Up next is Daryl with business. He'll be telling you how the Bank of Ghana has ruled out a fixed exchange rate regime for local currency, but promises timely intervention to stabilize the city. That comes up after this.